Hello everyone, it is me, CoffeeStitcher, aka Garrett, back for episode 2 of the reboot of CoffeeStitcher. I hope everyone had a nice week, or I guess 2 weeks technically. I want to take a quick second to say thank you to everyone who commented or reached out. It was very nice to get that kind of a warm welcome back. So that made me feel good. So thank you for that. We've got a big video for you this week. So we're going to go over, of course, what I worked on in the last 2 weeks. I'll show you the two projects that were picked for this month's WIPGO. We'll also go over, I have a tiny scotch of haul. Nothing overly exciting, but still a little. And then we're also going to do a WIP Parade, which was what was voted on Instagram. I don't know if there is a poll feature on YouTube. I'm going to see if I can find that. If there is, then I will add a poll to see if you would rather see felt kits or a finished parade in the next video. If not, definitely check me out on Instagram under CoffeeStitcher. I assume most of you probably do, but I don't know for sure. I'll be putting a poll up there as well, because I know how to do it on that one. We'll see if YouTube has that feature. Yeah, so that's kind of that there. You can always reach out to me at CoffeeStitcher on Instagram. I am going to hopefully have an email address set up that's specific to this in case people prefer to reach out by email. I will drop the link, or I'll drop it down below, but I ran out of time today before I filmed. So if there's not an email there, then it means I didn't get to set up what I wanted to, and I'm being pouty. At least I'm honest, right? So yeah, that's kind of everything there. So we are gonna dive right on in. Asher is right here next to me. I don't know how much he'll show up in the video, but he is here. And he says, thank you to all of the people who said he was cute. He is well aware that he is cute. But he says, thank you just the same. All right, so what did I guess I'm also going to do a little shout out to various people as well. So first to Stitch Natty on Instagram only. She is the person behind the Notion app, which is really fantastic, and I'm really finally digging in and using it correctly. It's absolutely fantastic. So 10 out of 10, highly recommend her Notion for that. It lets you basically track your stitching, track a database of your projects, where your floss is and which projects it's with, etc. So it's really, really cool. So shout out to her. With my return to FlossTube, I am trying to be better about watching FlossTube. So I've watched, recently at least, I've watched Jason X Stitches, as well as Stewartson Stitches, and Sheldon and Stitches. And a little bit of a shout out, which will come, I'll clarify in a little bit, but to the lovely Kate and Cheryl of Fickle Stitches. So all of whom I highly recommend. In fact, there's actually a little cameo from me on an episode of Fickle Stitches, but you'll have to go back and find it because it was pretty fantastic. All right, so what did I work on in the last couple of weeks? This is not going to be in any particular order, just whatever order it happened to be that I stacked them up on the pile next to me. So the current one I'm working on is Stitcher's Book Club from Cloudsfactory. I'll put the poster up there. So the wheels landed on 800 stitches. I've got 90 stitches in. So basically I got the ecru done there and a little bit of ecru up there. That's it so far. I don't think 800 will finish out this part, but I expect it probably will get me pretty close, and then the next time it comes out, I'll finish that one out and then start working my way up. Or I may go ahead and, now that this side's been released, I may just jump over to this side and work up good old Billy Shakes. All right. So that's one WIP. I did decide that I was kind of tired of Castle Home. You'll see it during the WIP Parade, but it went back into the archives, and I brought out instead Shining Star by SamSarah, which is one I've had going for a while. I actually bought the chart on the first FlossTube retreat, so here it is. I'll zoom in a little bit. I'll also throw the image up, but it's in the shape of a tree with little boxes, and part of the lyrics to Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas, which it's actually got the verse that I hate the most on it, but it's my favorite Christmas song from one of my all-time favorite movies, Meet Me in St. Louis. Fun little history on that. The lyric that most people are familiar with, through the years we all will be together, if the fates allow, hang a shining star upon the highest bough, was actually requested well after the song was written by Frank Sinatra, because he thought it was too much of a downer to sing Until Then We'll Have to Muddle Through Somehow, which was actually not the first lyrical rewrite. The first lyrical rewrite came at the behest of Judy Garland, who introduced the song in Meet Me in St. Louis, because the original lyric was something to the effect of, have yourself a merry little Christmas, though this may be your last. Next year we may all be living in the past, or something along those lines. Very, very dark. And her response was, it's a great lyric, but if I sing this to little 5-year-old Margaret O'Brien, I'm going to be crucified. I will be considered a murderer, a monster if I sing this. And so that's when they changed it. So, all of that to say, here's where I am on it. And this is one that I can definitely tell the ADD medication has helped tremendously, because in 2 nights, I got the 5 boxes basically stitched. Started on the filling in the background on the last one. Whereas it took me 3 days prior to medication to just do the tree there in the middle. So I am doing these all in Gentle Arts wool, because I wanted to give them kind of a Christmassy sweater look. And it is stitched on Dryad's Saddle, which is a 16-count Aida from Fortnite Fabrics. So there you go. That is Shining Star. With any luck, this one will be a finish this year. Great. And then I did work on Adventure Awaits. That is the one from Caterpillar Cross Stitch that I only do 200 stitches at a time on. It is on Mummy Wraps by Ship's Manor. It's using the called for DMC. But I did finish the Maple Leaf and the Golden Gate Bridge. So here's this. Zoom in a little so you can see what I actually worked on. So I've just got to do, there's an igloo up here, and then there's a Aztecian style temple down here. And then I can actually start doing the border of North America. So getting closer to a finish. I don't know for sure that this will be finished this year per se. Just because we're in, what is this, June? June is busting out all over. So it might be a finish this year. I think it'll probably be a finish early next year. Got some work in on Farming Magic Sal by FlossyFoxShop. This is on a 32 count blue even weave that's opalescent from Fortnite Fabrics. I don't remember what the name was. I lost the little card that it came with. But it was during the year when they did all of the opalescents had like money or fancy names. Like there was one that was called like dollar bill, but the L's were stylized as money signs. So it was from that year. But here it is. So I finished out the trees and I got some clouds in and I got started on the chicken coop. So I think the next time this one comes out, it will probably finish part 6. And then we'll be moving on to part 7. So it was an 8-part Sal, so we are closing in on a finish. I do think this one will probably get finished this year because usually it takes 2 to 3 rotations to get a piece to get a part completion. So that's, I mean, there's 6 months left, so it's pushing it, but I might get there. If I know myself, what'll probably happen is I'll get close, and then in like December, I'm just gonna be like, I'm finishing this. Because that happens sometimes. All right. And then I don't remember specifically what I put back for this one, but Meditation Garden came out, and it had about 800 stitches that needed to be put into it. So this is by Jan Hicks Creates. It is on, I know for sure it's a fortnight. Do I have the little fabric insert that came with it? It does not, but I will look it up. And, oh wait, hang on, I can check that in my Notion. I hope. Meditation Garden. Bianchetto by Fortnite Fabrics. So this is on Bianchetto. And I got a pretty decent amount done. I did make one substitution. I'm using one of the DMC variegateds for the water. So it's using 4050. I think it's called Monet's Garden or Monet's River or something along those lines. But there it is. The light pink does not show up well on camera. I don't really know why. Just one of those things, but it shows up nicely in person. So there we go. So not quite a page finish, but close to a page finish. So the next time this one comes out, it'll definitely be a page finish, and then I am going to work my way back that way to get page 1. Oh boy. There we go. All right, and then these are ones I did work on. So, then I didn't actually do the full stitch count that I was supposed to on Jane Eyre. I did work on it this week. It's by Stitching Book Club. But I did a big chunk, and it kind of is in a not counting friendly place, and I was at a point during the week where I was like, you know what, I'm just not going to worry about it this time. So here's where we are. So I added 350 stitches here with the border. So there it is. So this one I definitely expect I will finish this year. Of course, that assumes that we don't get a new release, because I will always start the new release. Even if I don't keep up with it, I at least start it on the day it comes out, because that is how we roll, yo. All right, now this one I did work on. It's also one of my June WIPGO calls, called by my friend Danielle. So it is the SewNeedleJuice Wizard of Oz sampler. So the last time I worked on it, I got to a quarter of the way done. So here's where I'm at now. I did add some Kreinik for the ruby slippers, but everything else is the called for. I am leaving the little center parts of the border open, because my plan is I think I'm going to use red beads to fill that in, just to give it a little pizzazz. So, yeah. You can sort of see that the shoes are sparkly. The one downside to the ring light is it does not capture that well, but I guess it is what it is. So this will be another one of my WIPGO. This will be my second month for WIPGO on it, so it will get 750 stitches, which I anticipate will take me to the halfway point. All right, my other WIPGO stitch, which thank you to whoever it was that, and I don't remember who it was now, but somebody commented with the correct pronunciation of Daiso. Still, fantastic shop. If you have one near you, I highly recommend going. All right, so this one is Anna from Brooks Books Dress Up Princesses. So this will be another one that I work on for WIPGO. My friend Heidi picked that one, and I expect 750 will finish out at least this part here, probably more, but there it is. This one was on a one-off from Fortnite Fabric, so it does not have a name. All right, so that is everything I worked on cross-stitch wise. Now, I had a big finish that I still haven't posted on Instagram yet, and it's entirely possible that I will do more to add to this kit, but I finished my Wizard of Oz ornaments. So we've got, I think you saw last time, Dorothy. On her, I did use I did not use entirely the kit sequins. So the white ones are the kit, and I used white beads with those. The ones on her dress are actually a rose pink because I wanted them to stand out. And the ones on the ruby slippers are an iridescent-y fuchsia color, so they kind of glitter different colors. There is a back to her. There isn't really to the others, but she does have a little apron back here. And I went ahead and beaded the ruby slippers and her blouse. Then we've got the Scarecrow. And him, I did do some sequining on the back. I added a diploma to him. I'll explain, because I ended up using the red ribbon on Dorothy's pigtails. I used it on the Tin Man, and I used it on the Lion. And then I thought, well, it's really weird to not have it on the Scarecrow, and the only logical place it could go would be to wrap around the diploma. So he got a diploma added. I used real twine for his various different ties, but here he is. Then I did the Tin Man, and he's in this fabulous silver vinyl, which was really not terrible to stitch on except for the axe, but that's okay. I did use blue for his cheeks because I thought that made more sense than pink. His heart was supposed to be attached to the breastplate, but I decided I wanted to give him buttons instead, and so I wrapped the heart around his neck with that red ribbon. So here's the Tin Man. And then finally, the Cowardly Lion, who has cute red pajamas. I, of course, tied a bow in his hair and around his tail, which is braided. You can see it's attached back there. The kit did not, it was open and the sequin pack had been destroyed. So I don't know what happened, but there were no gold sequins like there should have been. So fortunately I had some familiar golds. I also gave him a little medal because I thought it seemed unfair that the Scarecrow had his diploma and the Tin Man had his heart, so the Lion needed a Medal of Courage. So here we go. So that was my finish on the Busilla Wizard of Oz kit. Now I am thinking about adding a Toto and a Witch and a Glinda, but I need to do some plotting on those, so they will be tackled a little bit later. But here we go. There they kind of all are together. My next kit is going to be this nativity, it's called the Holy Family, but it's a felt nativity set. It's obviously the Holy Family with a manger. So I thought I'd also show you, because I've already opened it, kind of how a Busilla kit comes together. I'll do a different, another video with a little more in-depth detail, but you get color cover, which on newer kits, that's also where your symbol and color guide are. On older kits, it's not, but on newer kits it is. On older kits, the color guide and the instructions are together. And you get the instructions. It tells you what percentage they are. So this one is, I think 55%. Yeah, the designs are shown at 55%. So if you want to do a color change or something, it tells you what you need to size up the repro for. You get a bag that has the floss colors you need and 2 needles, which is weird that this one came with 2 needles because there are no beads or sequins in this one. I will be, of course, blinging it up because that's what I do. So for sure, like, to their halos, they'll be added, and I will probably design a star as well. And then you get, of course, the felt. And the felt is pre-printed. Sometimes the lines are real good and heavy, and other times they're not. So, like, you can see the printing kind of is wearing out on that one. But you get all of your felt that you need to assemble the piece with. And yeah, that's kind of it. So it's basically everything you need except for if you want to, you need for stuffing, you have to buy your own polyfill, which that's not hard or difficult. You can get a big bag that I've been working on for over a year now, and I still haven't run out. So it doesn't run out easily. And that's going to kind of segue us into the haul, because for this one, the nativity, of course, has to be freestanding, and a couple of friends recommended using plastic canvas, since it's malleable but strong and gives good structure. So I went to Michael's today and picked up the last 6 sheets they had of all green, because thankfully it's going inside dark brown. But the last greens for 50 cents, because it was like, oh, I can get 6 sheets for $3, or I can get 1 sheet of white for $2.50. Not hard math to figure out. I also picked up, because I was talking last night on Virtual Stitchers, and Vicky Gable and Kate of Fickle Stitches had the idea of using a diamond painting stylus, because you can use the wax to pick up the sequin with, which works great on those vintage kits where they didn't color sort them, and so you have to do it yourself, and it's super tedious. So this will make that job a lot easier. So thank you to both Vicky Gable of Stitch and Button. I pretty sure she has a YouTube channel, but don't quote me on that. Sorry, Vicky, I love you. But Kate is of Fickle Stitches. So, yeah, so I picked that up. And then my other little bit of haul, also courtesy of Kate from Fickle Stitches, she sent me the Forbidden Fiber Co.'s The Chance to Fly, which, of course, is part of a lyric in Wicked. She also sent me her leftover floss, too, which, huzzah for that. Yes, I have seen Wicked. We went on opening day, because there was no way I wasn't going to go on opening day. And it was honestly everything I had wanted and hoped for it to be. I had incredibly strong reservations, because there were, well, for one, they split the movie in 2 parts, which could potentially have worked in their favor, which I think it did, or it could have really backfired on them, which it didn't, thankfully. And they managed to find a way to make Defying Gravity work, because that is a very theatrical moment in the stage production. Was really worried that they were not going to make it work. And particularly with it being a 2-part film, my concern was, it's one thing if Defying Gravity is kind of mediocre and it's in the middle of the movie, but if it's supposed to energize people to come back a year later for part 2, it better be one of the best damn musical movie moments ever committed to film. And I think they achieved it. The cast was stellar. Ariana Grande, who I had my doubts about because of her tendency to be a little mush-mouthed, was fantastic, and you could understand her. So I really had no complaints, other than the fact that we have to wait a whole darn year, and I have to wait until the Tonys to see the trailer for part 2, because I'm not going to go back to see the movie on a random Wednesday just for the trailer. If I were 15 years younger, maybe, but no, I'm just not doing that to myself. I don't have the time or energy on a Wednesday night to sit through a 2.5-hour movie in a movie theater. I don't even always have that much energy to sit through one at home. So that was my haul. All right. So that leads us into the WIP Parade. All right. The WIP Parade, I should have cover images for all of them ready to go. So I may not hold up the covers, but I will at least tell you what it is and pop the cover over here. So, we're going to start. I have them broken down into 3 categories: A, B, and C. A is anything that is less than 25%. B is anything that's about 25% to about 60%. And then C is 60% to why have you not already finished this yet? So we'll start with the A's and work our way through. So, all right, let's drag the first box over here. I've got 2 boxes. All right, so we're gonna start with this one here, which is, what is the name of this one? I bought it from Michelle, Bendy Stitchy. It is one that she had to join the Tudor Rose Guild to get. And it was sort of a mystery cell. It solves a murder as you go. It's by Amy Mitten Designs. And it's called Mute But Not Silent. So this one was one back when I was doing my New Year, New Start, or New Moon, New Starts. That was one that I did then. And I am not very far at all in it. But it's all the called for. It was a kit. So this is a very, very depressing start here, y'all. That's all I've got done. Yep. This was at the start of my beginning to really struggle with the ADHD. So those were nights where I was lucky sometimes to put like 30 stitches in. So, and that was when I kind of pivoted over to doing a lot more of the felt kits because they could hold my attention at least. So, behold the power of medication. All right, next we've got Winnie the Pooh calendar, which is from World of Cross Stitch. And I'm doing it on just generic oatmeal Aida. And I've got Tigger done, and then I don't really know what made me stop working on it, truth be told. But here's where I'm at. So Tigger is done. The snowman he's pounced on is not done. But that's where I am at on that. So it's got a spring, summer, autumn, and winter. Spring is, of course, Tigger. Spring is Piglet with some ducks. Summer is Pooh doing some fishing. And autumn is poor Eeyore in a pile of leaves. So it's a very cute set. It was offered in 2006 through World of Cross Stitch. So, right. Next up we have the Christmas Village. It's the Mill Hill Christmas Village that I am doing on just on paper, or not on paper, on fabric. It's a Ship's Manor fabric. I don't remember the name of it at the moment. I finished the Palace Theater already, which is there in the middle. And then I'm working now on the bookseller to be directly above it. So there's the Palace Theater. Because, of course, in my town, the theater would be the center of it. And I've got that one in a cute little bag, Christmas bag. I don't remember who made this Christmas bag, truthfully. But it's very cute. I know I got it in a bundle, because with it was actually a kitted up, the kitted up Trimming the Tree by Bendy Stitchy. But, yeah, I don't remember where I bought it from now. All right, so next one is one that y'all have seen before. It is the Busilla Mary Inglebright Walk Towards the Sunshine, which I'm doing on 14 count Aida. I think it's Orchid by Fiber on a Whim. And that's where I am on it. So we've got the girl and the start of her umbrella and the start of the phrase. So, yeah, there it is. Yeah, this kit is from 2004 and originally sold for $10 at Michael's. Hello, cost of living and inflation. Pardon my sneeze. All right, next up we've got in a Hocus Pocus bag. Again, I don't remember who made it, but I think it's actually the same person who made the Christmas bag. Oh, Delicious Threads. Hey, look, she put a label on the inside. This one has inexplicably Cape Cod vignettes by Jeanette Douglas. So I've already finished one of the three, which you'll see in the finish parade. But there's a random piece of Aida in here. Okay. I did start the second one, which is Fall on Cape Cod. It is on Buttercup from Under the Sea Fabrics. And I have a counting error in here. so that's why I kind of stopped on it, but that's where I am. So it's a cute little set. It's three little vignettes, a spring, a fall, and a summer. Why no winter on Cape Cod? Because it's a summer town. As a little Edie Beale laments. Although I think they were in the Hamptons and maybe not Cape Cod, but you know, same thing. I mean, not exactly the same thing, but close enough for government work, I guess. All right. This one is in a chicken bag, and it is the Mary Englebright There's No Place Like Home, which is a kit from 2003. And here's where I am on it. So I've got a decent start going on it, but it was one that also fell victim to the ADHD medication. One of the cool things about this one is the mat. It includes a mat, so instead of having to do the full border myself, there it is. So it goes inside there, which I thought was nifty. Next, we've got in a Winnie the Pooh bag from the 805 Stitcher, the Heart and Hand Blooming Tiny Town. I don't know for sure which floss it's with. Is this? Hang on. No, it's not. Okay, so it's using a whole bunch of Color and Cottons and then a couple of Classic Colorworks, because I'm doing a bit of a conversion. But here's where I am on it. I have one little tiny house basically stitched. This was another one that fell victim to the ADHD. But I have a whole bunch of these tiny towns because I love houses. All right. Next up, we've got Witchy Stitcher's Nostalgic Ouija. Nostalgic Ouija. This one is on a black Ada because it needed to be. I have not gotten very far on it either. This was another one that... This one actually was not one that fell victim to the ADHD. This was a one that fell victim to the, I should do this all in silk lame braid, and I need to stop because I'm not too far yet. I have since rethought that decision, and I don't think I'm going to do that, but that's where I am on it. So, but I like it. It's kind of Lisa Frankie, but spooky. Right. Okay, then this one is a stamped cross-stitch piece by Dimensions. It's called To Everything There Is a Season. And I've basically got the fall section done, but I stopped because I really didn't feel like doing a whole bunch of outline stitch. That's what made me stop it. To be a little fair, this is on sailcloth, and it is a pain to get the needle through. So here it is, though. So as you can tell, I am almost done with autumn. This is a kit from 1998. Like I said, if it weren't on sailcloth, I would probably be a lot farther than I am. Right. And then this one, which is in the very first project bag that I ever got, ages ago, by Whip It Up, is Osmandala by Atomic Tiki Stitches. It is on some Witchelt Touch of Blue. Oh no, it's not. It is on Oxygen. It's 18 count 8. It's Oxygen by Rogue. And I started this on my birthday a couple of years ago and got a decent amount done, only to realize I was using the wrong color, so I had to frog it all out, and that's what was left. Just a little bit. It is basically a full coverage piece, and so subsequently I really haven't gotten very far on it. As you can see, one of the things I tend to do is I tend to make note cards with all my colors on it, and that's how many note cards it took. So, yeah. But it's a really cool pattern. So I do have plans to actually work on this, but I've got to, I've really kind of got to kit it up, and I just haven't. Right. Let's see. Next up, in a bag made by Robert of Robert's Palace of Stitches. It's a coffee bag. I don't remember if this is a Christmas or a birthday present from him. It was one of the two. We have, it's a Stitchy Princess, black. It is, what is this one called? It's on Summer Sky by Eberlicious. It's called Magical Swamp. So here's where I am on it. This was one I started for Stitch Ukraine and just haven't gone back to. It's kind of what it sounds like. It's a frog in a swamp. I did use some metallic to go in the sun. And it has a Fiddler on the Roof playbill for it, needle minder, because Fiddler on the Roof is set in Anatevka, which is modern-day Ukraine. So it felt appropriate, and also had to do with people being displaced from their homes. So thematically, it just seemed to sort of work. All right. Boop. All right, and then in this one, which is also a Robert's Palace of Stitches bag, I have from, who is the designer on this one? I want to say it's like Circle Cross Stitch. It's called Wizard of Oz Advent Tale. And it is by Circle Cross. So this one was one that I started and I've got good progress on. Here it is. It's on Touch of Blue Ada. But I'm doing a whole lot of color work with this one. So we've got the first 3 rings done. We've got the flying monkeys. We've got the Emerald City. One of the things I'm doing is I am using my replica first edition to try and, as best I can, use that for color choice. So we've got the Good Witch of the North over there. And we've got the Scarecrow and Dorothy meeting there. Like I said, I have trimmed out some things just to make it a little less cluttered and make certain things stand out better. But I got that. Yes, you guys see Ooh, this is a long one. We may stop this one with the A's just because I don't want to make y'all sit for over an hour. So we will pick up the WIP Parade next month. All right, this one is Stitching Book Club's Dracula, which I'm technically a third of the way through on, but it's so dense it really doesn't feel like it's a third. But I went with a poster for the Bela Lugosi tour play, or touring stage version of Dracula, because it was a more interesting image than the book cover was. So, but there we are. So that's part 1 and a little bit of part 2. So good old Stitching Book Club. This is not the only one you're gonna see in the A section. Right. And then in this bag, which was made by a friend of mine, it's Llamas, I have one called Illuminated Manuscripts, which was from the Cross Stitch and Country Crafts January-February 1990 issue. And this is where I am on it. So there are 2 patterns in the set, so they'll both be done on this one same piece. But there's where I am. It's a really pretty piece. I like it a lot. And if I'm honest, it's one that I keep hoping when I spin my wheel to bring a project back out, that it will be there. And yet it is not. Right, then in this one, which I think is a stitch and button, but it may not be, is last year's Cloudsfactory Stitch Along, which was Hans Christian Andersen and Friends. It is on Azure Blue Lugana, which I think was a Zweigert. And I got the first 2 months done, and that was it. So we've got the Ugly Duckling, which I really loved the way that she designed it so that the Ugly Duckling, which is there in the middle, sorry, I didn't mean to flip y'all off, there in the middle is the pretty duck on the bottom, and then the Snow Queen. And I did use, on the elements that are below the water, I did use metallics for that. And then I think my intention on the ones that I did in half stitches were that I would do beads, but I don't really remember at this point. I have slept since then. So this is the last sal that I started where I was like, I'm gonna keep up on this, and I burned out. And that's when I came to the decision of, it's okay if I don't finish a sal at the time. I would rather work on whatever my wheel tells me how many stitches, and then move on and come back to it. I forgot to put the packet back for this one. And then we're getting towards the end of the A's. Just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more. This one was a 3-part mystery sampler from Summer House Stitchworks. I can't get my bag open. Called Zephyr Hill. So it was a sampler and then 3 smalls. And so I am doing this one on Incoming Storm by Under the Sea Fabrics. And I have 1 corner done. Actually, I think it goes this way. No, that's not right. This way is correct. So that's all I've got done. This was another one that fell victim to the ADHD. You noticing a trend here? All right. And then this one is by the Wishing Thorn. It's called Twilight Woods. It is on some sort of fabric. I don't remember which one it is. Oh, it's got its stuff on it. It's an unnamed Be Stitch Me. It is 14 count Aida. And that's as far as I got on that. Once again, it was a new moon, new start. I'm pretty sure that's what that one was. And then it's just never come back out to play. All right, this one is going to be a real blast from the past. I'm not actually sure I was even stitching on it still when I first started making FlossTube. But it is the Thomas Kincaid Disney Dreams Little Mermaid. And I actually was doing pretty good on this one, but it was another one that I couldn't pay attention to during the ADHD. So here's where I am on it. So making really good progress, considering I put it away in 2014 and then didn't bring it back out again until sometime last year, because I got a wild hair to work on it. But yeah. I have several of the Thomas Kincaid Disney Dreams. I don't know if I'll ever stitch the others, but I do have them in case I decide to. All right. And then we've got the 2020 Modern Folk Embroidery Sal, which I'm not doing in just a single color. I picked different colors for each various section. And here's where I am on it. So part 1 is completely done. I think part 2 is mostly done. But that's where I got on it. So yes. Ooh. Let me on. All right. Then we've got this nice dimension kit from 1988. So I was 2. And it is the verse of Psalm 23, which, while I'm not particularly religious, Psalm 23 is the theme song to my absolute favorite British sitcom of all times, The Vicar of Dibley. So I've got Walk of Death, I will fear no evil for. And this is on some like ridiculous count, like 22 count, I think. 25 count linen. So, right. Then we've got Stitching Book Club's Emma, in the bag that came with it. And I think this one was actually a kit, and she did, no, it wasn't a kit. I just had this random Ada on hand. But that's as far as I got on it. So it will eventually come out. It will eventually be finished, because that is my goal, is to have all of them done. And I have done all of them, including the logo so far. So, including The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. All right, next to last one. This one is from a book. The David and Charles cross-stitch collection, Summer Flowers. It is a, it's called Summer Garden Sampler. It is on the random fabric that I got ages ago at Hobby Lobby, and I started the Teresa Winsler Noah's Ark on, and then abandoned. But I've got basically the top left done. So just about a quarter of it's done. It's got really pretty colors. I'm a big fan of it. So it was one that came out of the rotation because I realized I had too many projects that were too similarly themed. Either, I don't think I had all that many that were garden-y themed per se, but the colors were a lot of the same. That I just needed more variety. All right, and then the last one, last but not least at all, which is an appropriate one since we are starting Pride Month. We have the Modern Folk Embroidery Pride project, Move Forward in Love. And that's where we are. And I am using, on this one, I'm using all Aurifil flosses. So, yeah, there we have it. That is all of my A projects. So these are all the ones that are that are 25% or less. So next video, I will show you all my B's and my C's because they are a significantly smaller subset. So yeah. Anyhow, once again, thank you all for tuning in and for all the lovely comments. I do enjoy comments. I tried to take a chance to actually respond to everyone. So I hope you all enjoyed, and I hope you enjoyed part 1 of the WIP Parade, and I will see y'all next time, so in 2 weeks. Come here, little man. You gotta at least say hello. He says hello. Yes, I see you. You're very precious. He probably doesn't want to be up here. Anyhow, I will see you all next time. See you next time. I just realized I don't have my remote, so we're just gonna reach over here. We'll actually do this.